Hi everyone, thought we'd do a quick little video to talk about the front yard now that the rain has passed a bit. We're supposed to get some more rain in, so it's going to drive me a little crazy to look at the yard and not be able to come out here and edit and clean up things, but I thought it would be really good to go through one of the planting beds that I have. I'm crouched down here because I wanted to be able to show the elevation so that you get an idea that this is fairly high. The garden bed from the base of what used to be my lawn all the way up is probably about 2 feet. When I put it in, it was a little higher. It was probably about 3 feet, and that's normal because as the soil settles, as the rock settles, it goes down. It starts to go down. That's fine, so long as you account for that in your design, that's what's going to happen. This is the little corner area of the bed with a lot of jades. I have some Fred Ives that I put in. One of the tricks when you are designing a garden is to get some of these bigger plants like this. So I just went on Facebook Marketplace, and there were people who were selling some of their larger jades. You can usually get them for a pretty good price. And that's a trick that allows you to put some more mature plants in the landscape without having to spend a ton of money. There's a lot of people that will want to get rid of those. Here are some of the Fred Ives. So the Fred Ives are the purple ones that you're seeing. And I love those because they're absolutely gorgeous. You can see they're starting to get the orange around the edges. And then you have the purple that comes out. The problem with these plants is they get a ton of bugs in my yard. And so in one of my videos, I'll talk about some of the homemade kind of brew that I put together that I spray the plants with to try to help them. I also had these blue chalk sticks in here, which are absolutely gorgeous. And you can see there's these little wooden fish that were swimming amongst them. They got pretty crazy and had grown to probably about 4 feet tall each. You could actually even see some of the new growth that's starting to come out on them. So I cut them back. Right after I cut them back, that's when we had a cold snap that came through. So that's why you see the kind of black tips on the ends of them, is because they got hit by the cold. Right afterwards, it was just bad timing on my part. That's what happens sometimes when you cut things in the middle of winter, that you'll leave them exposed, and then when that cold comes in, it will cause that type of damage. Doesn't matter though, that is such a prolific grower, it will grow right back, and pretty soon those little fish will look like they're swimming amongst those blue chalk sticks. So I have a crusted cactus here, which I love. I love the cactus and the fiberglass combination. I think it's super beautiful. Some more aeoniums. As you all know, I love aeoniums. And different sedums along through here. One of the fun things is, as your garden grows, you can start taking off little cuttings. I wouldn't do it right now because we're going to have the rain come through again. But then I start poking them into little tiny crevices, and that's where you get this kind of look where the plants start blending together. This is done on purpose in this particular area because I wanted it to be fuller, to have more of a tapestry type of look to it, where the plants are all knitting together. There's other areas of the yard where I keep more space between the plants, but this is what I prefer in this particular area. So we can continue around, and I'm trying to stay as crouched down as I possibly can so you can see the plants. This is an area that I just fixed, sort of. Put this little area in here. You can tell that I just recently did this because you can see how short the plants are. So I actually cut a lot of these back. So especially on the echeverias, what I will do, they tend to get this little stalk on them. And so you want to cut that and then place it back in. So that's what I did recently. I replanted a lot of these plants again so it knits together. So you can see over here where it's a little bit messier, where I haven't quite touched yet, and then see the place where I put the design back together. So especially as we head into April, I will continue doing this, going through and just cutting all of these back, putting, replacing all of the different plants in and making it look much tighter and more beautiful. And again, more plants that were on the mature side that I brought in just to combine the larger plants with the smaller plants. That helps it to look like a much more mature garden. Try not to stand in my own video here and get my shadow in. So here's further plants. You can see they're drying off from all of the rain that we had go through. This one's one of my favorite. Ruby Slippers. It's got like a fuzzy texture to it. Really hard to see on a video, but it has like a fuzzy texture to it. It gets these super red leaves when it's stressed out, and it's absolutely beautiful. As you can see, and again, all of these were grown from cuttings. These were tiny, about a year and a half ago. Super, super tiny. This huge, lush bed like this, all from cuttings. And you can see I'm getting a volunteer. So the one thing that I don't like about this plant right here is that it pops and it sends out these little babies all the time. So I've worked over time to start pulling those plants out because I don't want to deal with the maintenance of it. But there are a few that are left. They do this pupping. I tend to dig them up and just give them to friends or whoever doesn't care. And it's fine with growing that type of plant that's going to do that. There's another aloe. Again, this one was just purchased off Facebook Marketplace, so that it was a little bit larger. There's a lot of people that give these away because they grow like crazy in this particular area that I'm in. People have them, and they could be 30, 40 years old in front of their house, and they want to give them away, which is crazy, or, sell them for a very reasonable price, which is pretty awesome. But again, you can see this. Here's another jade, type of jade, and this jade is probably almost 4 feet tall. So again, that was another one that I purchased because I wanted to get eventually more of a tree look. So what I'll do is I'll limit up and then just basically open it up so that you can actually see, and it'll almost look like a little tree with all of the plants underneath. More echeverias. So something that's really interesting, you can see how beautiful these plants look. Yeah, it doesn't even have roots. So I cut this, you can see it's hardened off appropriately, so it's okay even that it's wet out here and it doesn't have any roots yet. I just push it in like that. Eventually it will grow roots. So these plants are really fun. You can come out and you can redo your area all the time. It's kind of like painting with plants. It's a lot of fun to be able to come out here and to make some changes to this type of design, and it's an ever-evolving design is the way that I would put it. That's one of the fun things with most gardens, most types of plants. When you put them in, you can't actually go back and change anything. And with succulents and cacti, they actually don't care if you move them around. So it's a lot of fun because you can just go out and change things all the time. You'll also notice that the more you play with the plants, the more your garden design will evolve as you evolve. As you get used to using the plants, as you get used to making different types of choices, as you learn, you'll start to figure out more and more ways that you can knit these plants together, do something that's really cool. This is one of my little favorite areas because all of the colors are so beautiful in here. It tends to get blasted with sun, so it's nice when it's doing well. And again, I'm just showing you the elevation. It's actually quite tall. So I live in San Jose. For folks who haven't been watching my videos previously, my zone is 9B. It's considered semi-hostile. This area of the yard does get hit pretty hard with the sun. Also can get hit with frost, although this year it was thankfully not so bad. But yeah, you learn how learn which plants will handle it, which plants won't. There's definitely been some casualties in this area, and then a lot that have done extremely well. This area up here, this is all aeoniums, and this is that Blushing Beauty aeonium. You guys will hear me talk about a lot. That aeonium you pretty much can't kill, at least in my area. It grows like this. These were all single cuttings and turned into this. I used to, in this little spot right here that's empty, you can see there used to be something there that was a palm tree. Didn't handle the weather out here, so even a palm tree couldn't, but all of these other plants did just fine. So I'm gonna put an ocotillo cactus in that area, which will be really beautiful. It'll grow up super tall. It'll grow in between this desert museum tree, and that will be really, really beautiful because it gets these kind of like orange flowers on the end. Again, the back of that jade that I was talking about. Again, Facebook Marketplace, that helps you get plants that are on the larger side. You can plant them in with some of your smaller. And it gives you this look like the garden has been here for a while. So that is the middle planting bed. It's one of the larger ones that I have in the front yard. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. A little idea of what you can do within a year and a half with some cuttings and a fountain, some dirt, some rocks, and you get quite the lush landscape. Again, I went from, during the summertime, having a water bill that was roughly around $300 a month because of a lawn, to having a water bill that's roughly $30 a month, just because I hand water this, and you're really not having to water very often. So you can have a lush landscape. It's absolutely gorgeous and not have to pay a lot from a water perspective. These plants are not necessarily the type that you have to have a desert look. You can actually create that country garden look just by utilizing these plants. Well, hopefully this content was helpful for you. Feel free to like and subscribe, and send me any comments about your experience with these plants and getting this lush type of look, or any questions you may have for me. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks. Bye.